What is up, my tribal people? Welcome back to another episode clip of Pree Da Podcast. And just a reminder that these are only short in clips, and if you want to listen to the full episode, make sure you click the first link in the description below. Alternatively, you can type in Pree Da Podcast on all your audio listening platforms. And you guys already know what I'm going to say. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because it's trying to grow the community, and by sharing this with your friends and family, that goes a long way in helping us do that. Now, without further ado, let's get into the podcast episode.
And it's always been important to put a piece of who I am into the work, because I believe on having a divine purpose, you know, not just doing things for the sake of it, but having an impact in people's lives. And I believe in not just the physical aspects of barbering, but also the therapeutic aspects of barbering. Hence the brand being, you know, one-to-one barber therapy, because people, you know, barbers are the people's therapists in the community. It's a place where people feel home, and if the barbershop is not emulating that vibe, then what's the point?
You are now listening to Pree Da Podcast with your host, Majaro.
So, I wanted to get into the meat of it, right? So, after your, you know, growing up, playing basketball, finishing high school, did you go to uni, right?
Yes, sir.
Finishing uni, got your degree. You started cutting hair, and now you're a barber. How did that come up? How did that come up?
I was always cutting hair on a low key. It was just never the what I was known for.
Okay. So when did you start cutting hair then?
I started cutting hair when I was about 9 years old in Africa.
Stop it. 9 years old.
Yes,
what were you using? Were you using like...
never actually just real hair, but the passion started from just being around barbers. Like, growing up, we didn't have no barbershops where we'd go to. Like, my uncle used to cut my granddad's hair. He used to cut my hair. Like, you're getting cut by whoever the oldest male is, basically.
Oh, okay. So that was the culture back then in Congo.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up around basically, you know, that culture of, you know, whoever's the oldest, you are cutting everyone's hair. Was your uncle good? Was he good though?
Was he good, man, bro? Some of the trims I've had in this life, bro. Let's just say, thank God that, you know, we didn't grow up with the era of cameras.
Oh, swear. Wow. To be fair, like when I was younger in Nigeria, there was no like, oh, let me get a quick fade, or, you know, get a taper, line up, or I'm trying to do some dreads, so make sure you don't fuck up my hairline, stuff like that. It was just sit in the chair, we're just cutting all off. You don't get a choice of what you want.
Nope. Sometimes if you're left with a couple of patches, it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Right. So when you got to the UK, did you continue cutting hair? Was it just family members?
Yeah. I definitely did. The first start was sand, really, as playtime. You know, I'll put sand on the floor and get a blade and line it up and put some pans in it and whatnot. You know what I mean? Yeah, just tree it up. And I remember the first time I cut real human hair, it was one of my little cousins. You know, didn't butcher him too much because it was only a one level with a shape up. I was a bit, you know, ambitious, so I tried a bit of a fade. It wasn't too skin fade, because I didn't really have the right equipment. You know, I just had one clipper I found around the house that my dad used to use, and I remember my experience in the barber shop at Cali Cuts. This is down in Princess Road,
Cali Cuts, you know, Cali Cuts.
Yeah, Cali Cuts. Cali was my first barber to help me with my journey, and you know, he helped me buy some clippers at the time, and he was showing me a few things around. And growing up, but you know, I wasn't too confident to show people that, you know, I could be a barber, because it wasn't really a cool thing, but it was something I knew how to do and I was passionate about, you know.
Yeah,
growing up in an African household.
That's the thing with, you know, stop quote unquote things being cool. Like, nothing's cool unless you blow. Like, it's not cool to be a barber unless you actually have a shop and you're cutting hair on a daily basis and you're inviting people to the barbershop and you're having conversations, then it's cool. But when you're like on the low level, just trying to, do a fade up and it doesn't quite go right and, trying to do a line up and it's a bit wonky, then it's like, bro, you're trash, bro, you're X, Y, and Z. And I could understand why you would have been so, wary of saying, yeah, I cut hair. And then, people taking the piss, be like, yo, bro, what do you know about cutting hair, bro? You probably give some dead trims. That's how we probably would have went if you started saying, yeah, man, I'm trying to cut hair on a regular. That's probably how we would have went. Because, kids be savages, especially our age back then.
Savage, bro. Savage. And I did experience some savagery. I remember uni is where, I cut a little bit more. I remember a few of my friends that were helping me out get better. I remember Chids and even a few of the cousins at the time. I remember, my cousin Erwin, Eric, a few of the guys that would let me do their haircuts and shape-ups. Just, give me some practice and whatnot. I remember my friend Akeem. He borrowed me some of his trimmers. They used to call me the butcher.
Oh, stop it.
I'll give you a shape up was so sharp. You might get a few cuts, but that's your own.
Yo, one of the things I've noticed with, cause having traveled or moved from one city to another city to another city to another city, bro, every barber is different depending on, who they are, what culture they come from. It's slightly different, what race they are, how they do it. So when I was in Manchester, I've always had the best trims in Manchester. Like, come on. Like, YG barbers, that's where everyone that's good, that's a barber comes from, if in terms of, where we live in Levenshulme in central Manchester, because you got Anwar and then Khalid, Khalid and Almar, they headed that shop for a long time, and then Khalid went and started doing Khalid cuts, and then, he taught you, and he's taught some other people, and, Anwar's taught some other people. People come to the shop, and then because that's the thing with barber culture, people come and learn. That's where you start off to get, proper, teaching and proper, consistency. You have to spend some time in an actual shop and learn your trade. You can, do hair and here and there, cut here and there, but to get the proper consistency and, trying to make this a profession, you need to go to a barbershop and spend like a year or two, learning from someone who has a shop and is doing work there on a consistent basis. So there's you can probably trace the line of, teachers, the succession line, if you just ask the head of the barber, also, who taught you, to cut hair? Oh, Anwar taught me, and then, he got taught by, this person, and that person got taught by this person, and you can see a whole family tree of barbers. It's crazy.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful industry because, there's so many people to teach nowadays, and, as it is, I feel like barbering as an industry caught fire. Everybody's wanting to be a barber these days, and it's beautiful to see a nice shift into the industry, and it gives access to more students as well. And I believe barbering is a skill, it's a trade.
Trust.
Can't replace barbers. Wherever you go in the world, somebody may need a haircut.
Facts, especially in this day and age with Instagram and video creation, and everyone wants to put the best foot forward, especially when they come on camera. So when you guys see me in a do-rag, just know I haven't had time to go to a barber, or there's a barber here that I don't trust like that. So having, moved from Manchester to other places in the UK, I felt different types of trims. So let's start off with the worst trim I had, right? This is terrible. First trim at my University of Worcester. So Worcester University, right? Didn't know nothing. Didn't really seek any advice. Like, people call me a haircut hoe, right?
Okay.
As anywhere, if I need a trim, I will go to anywhere that will have me. I might not even do that much research. I'm just cheating on my barber every day. I don't even have a consistent barber like that.
That's sad.
It's sad. I know, it's sad. Really sad. But, it was my first trim at Worcester University. I didn't ask around. I just said, yo, where's the I went for the cheapest barbers there. I was like, yo, that's £5. Say no more. Didn't look at any of the signs. Didn't not look at any of the artistry. it was literally just a proper traditional English barber, right? I walked in, looked around, it was dim, it was dark. The lights weren't even on, and it was fucking 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, is there a spot available? I said, oh yeah, my husband's just gone to pick up the kids, but I can cut your hair. This is a lady, a white woman. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. But as soon as I sat in that chair, I knew I fucked up. And it's one of them where, like, I get, a lot of people don't want to say anything when they're having a trim. They just want to get there, have a trim, not say anything, especially when it's going bad. You want to say, like, after, people got the energy, like, bro, my man fucked up this and fucked that, guy's a dickhead, this, that. But when they're actually in the chair and he's fucking it up and you see that hairline's been pushed back, you're not saying shit most of the time. So you're just
having a conversation.
Exactly. You're just there eating it, and you just have to hold that. So I sat in the chair. This woman fucked up my hairline. The fade was not a fade. It was basically just one line. A line, skin fade. Terrible. You probably...
What ball did she use? What ball did she use?
Bruv, she freehanded it. That's why it looked so fucked up, because it was wavy at the back. The line was not even straight. It was bad. So when I actually stepped out, right, I looked at the front. I was like, yeah, this is bad. I didn't even need to speak to anyone. But as soon as other people saw me, they're like, bro, what the hell did you do? Who did you go to?
Wow.
I said to myself, never go into any person that's not been vetted. But sometimes you just don't know people in the area to give you that certification, this barber's the one. Especially when it comes to black and textured hair. Not anyone can just do it. As you know, like, some people, they just fuck it all up. Yeah. But like...
It's not an easy thing to manage, to be honest.
No. Yeah. No, it's not. But how do you manage it? How do you... it's easy for you because you're black. So that's the most type of hair you've had. Is there a difference between, a major difference between cutting textured hair and, regular, straight hair?
Absolutely, there is. And even if you look at the literature and even the teaching, there's obviously, of course, where we live in England, so it's normal that there's going to be a lot more literature regarding straight hair and type 1 hair being Caucasian hair, and a bit more towards the straighter types, some Asian hairs, and even some straight curly hairs, and even a bit of curly hairs. It's only nowadays now where the topic is more regarding Afro hairs and the type 3s and 4s, and there's even shows now on YouTube's and Netflix and different platforms where you can learn about it just as a regular person. And it's not been a topic for a long time, and it's beautiful to see the knowledge being shared around the industry, because there's so much to learn about it. And being a black male in the industry, I take it upon myself to fill in the gap necessarily and providing those knowledges. And at the moment, I'm still building myself as a barber, as a teacher, even as a businessman, in order for me to properly study the industry and have the knowledge and properly execute the plan on filling in the gap, because this is a generational plan. It's not just something we want to rush.
Yeah,
it's not a sprint, bro. It's a marathon.
Facts.
It's a marathon, bro. Sure, bro.
So when did it change for you from just doing it as and when, or when I get the chance to, okay, this is something I've decided to do, and it's, I'm getting clients and people coming to me saying, yo, Chaddy, I heard you do, haircuts. I need a trim right now. Can you link me, or where can I link you? When did that change happen?
For me, it happened during lockdown. Yeah, lockdown was a big opener for me. It was a blessing in disguise, and I thank God for it. Obviously, I pay homage and respect to all of those who have lost their close ones during those times, because it was tough times. But in terms of career choices, lockdown helped me focus. And I remember I did a haircut on a friend of mine, and it went viral around Snapchat around our community and the people our age, and everyone was like, "Right, I never knew you can do trims, bro. Right, let me come see you." And it became a thing, and I caught a few people on my front porch, and the word got around, and before you knew it, I was in a position where I could open the shop, and I did go ahead, and I had a business partner. Obviously, now I do things on my own, and we went our separate ways, and it's good to follow my vision and to follow what God's putting in my heart, because it allows me to do things on my wavelength, which has always been key for me, and it's always been important to put a piece of who I am into the work, because I believe on having a divine purpose. You know, not just doing things for the sake of it, but having an impact in people's lives. And I believe in not just the physical aspects of barbering, but also the therapeutic aspects of barbering. And it's the brand being, you know, one-to-one barber therapy, because people, you know, barbers are the people's therapists in the community. It's a place where people feel home, and if the barbershop is not emulating that vibe, then what's the point?
Facts. So when you were picking out the store, the shop, what was going through your head? What was your vision? What was the aesthetic? What were you looking for when you were picking out a store?
I was looking for young, you know, I wanted to give it a youth vibe, a contemporary vibe, like a nowadays, not just a regular chairs and that's it. You know, I wanted to bring some gaming into it, some music into it, make sure the speakers are on point, you know what I'm saying? And even my current store now, I've got the smart mirrors, you know, shout out to my guys, the snippet mirrors. You know,
what snippet
TV on it?
What snippet mirrors?
They're a mirror with a TV on it where you can, you know, enjoy some direct entertainment, and a nice little even advertisement mirrors where, you know, local businesses can advertise within the shop and reach the local community.
Okay.
And yeah, you can use it for gaming, musics, all sorts. And it's a nice little vibe it creates a feel in the barbershop, because the barbershop has so much going on. But, you know, like you say, like you know yourself, not every client is the same. Some people just want the one-to-one feel, yeah, and, you know, and the snippet mirror really helps bring that, because you can just focus on the client whilst everything else is still going on in the background, you know?
Yeah, because like when I went there for the first time, that was one of the things I noticed. I was like, wow, man's big, you know? Man's got a TV in the mirror and that. Like, wow, this is futuristic and that. I'm like, yo, this is sick. And you got a games console, so if anyone wants to jump on code 2K and catch a fade real quick, easily, FIFA, you know, people can, you know, go into Wi-Fi and it's calm. I'm not gonna lie. The floors is high. The floors are high. The floors are high. So if you don't know, you need to go through a gate, or like a door, and then literally you're on the top floor of like a 5-story building or 6 or 7-story building. And
it's a free gym workout I provide to the people.
Yo, facts.
I appreciate everybody that makes the effort to come to the store, you know. And locations were a hard thing to acquire at the time, but it also does make sense in terms of the privacy it provides to the people.
Facts.
I've always believed in a barbershop to be in a time away from, you know. It's like a local trusted society, because it's a free space. You might want to come talk about your problems, but, you know, because you've been to the barbershop 8-9 times and you're used to the faces and the people, you know, you can necessarily get help and whatnot. Like, there was like a perfect scenario today when I was at work, and a client of mine was looking for a body shop to get some help to fix his car, because he needs to do some retouching before he sells it, and hoping to get a nice price, because, you know, the resale values of cars have been amazing at the moment.
Crazy.
Taking opportunities. So, yeah, and I couldn't help, and I didn't know where to go in terms of help, but I could find out. But luckily, there was one of the clients waiting up, and they were able to speak up. In fact, they've just had some body work done themselves. They were able to pass details, and just small little things like that makes a big difference for the community. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I probably never would have had the opportunity had they been outside. But, you know, you put 2 people in the same spot, you never know how amazing it can go, man.
Exactly. Like, that's one of the things that I really got the vibe of when I came into the barbershop. Like, me on a regular thing, on a regular degular, I'm just the guy that just comes through, cuts through, gets the trim and then bounces. But obviously maybe because I know you and we've got history, I was more open to having the full experience of being in a barbershop. Like when I went there the last 2 times, I've been able to speak to people, make some connections, talk about sports, talk about family, talk about, life in general, government, politics, real life conversations. And that was one of the things that I never really got when I got into barbershops, because I didn't really know anyone like that. I knew probably the barber off someone else. So I didn't have that first-hand experience with that person and got to know them on a regular basis. But maybe now I'm older and I've spoken to people and I obviously know you. It's more of an open feel when I come to, get a trim. I can just come there, and even waiting, because obviously you're a busy guy, the barbershop's popping. So,
thank you.
Well, if you're not there early, that's why I always try to come to the barbershop early. If you're not there early, you're going to be waiting there for maybe an hour or 2. But it's worth it because you're going to get an A1 service and A1 trim. Like even the steamer, like I've never been to a steamer. I never had a steamer on my head, and it makes a difference. It's probably a lot easier for you to cut the hair, especially textured hair.
For sure.
But even while there's steam going to my head, I'm turning to the left and just having a conversation about what's going on in the world right now, and that's definitely one of the feels that I got. And the name Barber Therapy 121, that just epitomizes the whole culture around the shop, because everyone's just there letting off some steam and speaking to people. Everyone's quite like-minded in terms of respectful, conversational. We're all around the same age, so we've had a lot of very similar experiences. Whether you're black, white, Asian, you're gonna be able to relate to someone at the shop, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, most definitely, bro. And that's how it has to be, because people deserve a good time, a good conversation. Being nice is free, bro.
Yeah, doesn't cost anything.
It's so hard. It can be often so hard to acquire, though. And I believe in, when you can put good, like-minded people together, and I'm really grateful that God, blessed me with all your beautiful clientele, and like you say yourself, it's nice to get this sort of feedbacks because, it's my heart, mate, you know what I mean? So, we're doing the Lord's work. I like it.
So you talk about, some clientele. Have you cut any famous people's hairs? Because, we all know the famous, barbers who cut, Paul Pogba's hair, Phil Foden's hair, what's his name? Yeah. HD Cuts.
HD Cuts, yeah. Not tapped into this clientele yet, but we'll see.
I mean, you got Majaro Kayoma. He's, up and coming starlet.
I know that guy from Pree Da Podcast Is. You heard it before.
I got his hair.
In it, yeah. I've been blessed to have got a few high names, the likes of Sneak Bowls.
I swear.
Manchester's very own K Rico's.
Hey, K Rico, shout out to my man.
Yeah, shout out to K Rico, Manchester's very own host, DJ Mix and Moles.
Shit.
Manchester's very own. I mean, even a few Americans I've tapped in with my guy, King Crooks. He was at The Circle, which is an American TV show.
Oh,
even Tristan Moore. He was on Too Hot to Handle. A few nice names, and even a few that I can't disclose yet.
Hey.
But soon come out.
But
yes.
Well, now we talked about, some of the high profile names. What would you say the hardest bit about cutting hair is?
I say the hardest bit about cutting hair is the why.
Why?
Yeah, like each barber has their own reasons. Like, see, barbering is it's like a sport, innit? Because the more you do, the better you get type of vibe. Some people are just born talented as well. From the moment they started, excellent. Some people have to graft for it. For some people, they come easier, depending on, your talent and skill sets. Like if you've always been good at drawing and angles and shapes, you might find it a lot more easier. But if you got a little bit less of a steady hand, you have to overcompensate a lot more in other places and whatnot. If you're of a nervous nature, when faced with a challenge, you might have learned the steps on YouTube and whatnot, but can you actually
execute?
You know what I mean? Execution is the hardest bit, I'd say. And it's beautiful to see different journeys and to see how different people do their thing, and how even from a learning perspective, learning from so many different barbers, we're given with social media and the internet. Yeah, it's nice. It's absolutely nice, mate.
Okay. So if, like you said, the why is the most challenging part, and just obviously learning and grafting and, executing on what someone says they want. Like they can, put up a picture to your face and be like, yo, I want this. Can you do it? You can say yes and then fuck up the whole thing.
100%.
But sometimes you might have to be truthful and be like, I'm not, quite there yet. I'm not really sure what he did there, but I can do something else type of thing. Give me a try.
But the ambitious guy whose why is, I need to make the money today, might say yes and take the chance and mess up. But the guy who's trying to learn can say, you know what, actually, I'm not learned that yet, but I can do something similar, which is this. Look at the picture of my work. You know what I mean? Now you've set a different expectation and a different field and experience. And you might have saved yourself a lot of headache because an unhappy customer, woof.
Yeah. Have you ever dealt with, maybe not from you, but from like other barbers that have come to your shop? Have you had to deal with some, people that weren't happy?
Yeah, even for myself as well. I've had moms non-happy, dads, customers, kids. And it's a hard industry to be in because, like they say, really, you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
And you do find it. I've got even repeat clients that, because not every haircut's the same on the same client. Sometimes it's not the best that you've given me, but, and it's normal, and those are the things that you have to deal with as a barber and taking on the chin, and it's a lot psychologically because, our performances really sometimes judges how our lifestyle is, because a less experienced barber with less quality of haircut is less busy than, let's say, HD Cuts. HD Cuts is living at large, doing up World Cups. And it's a dream for a lot of us. It's not, obviously he's putting the work in the game, and it's only right that he deserves it. He's a very talented barber. He's been around for a very, very long time consistently. And like I say, you just gotta, follow your journey and do as you can.
Yeah, facts. Yeah. So, regarding, starting up your shop, like social media is a big thing right now. Well, it's going to be a big thing forever, to be honest. Like, was it easy translating, what you do to social media? Because, you said, the first video you did went viral on Snapchat. Growing your platform on other social medias like Instagram, I follow you on Instagram. Was it harder to replicate that same type of buzz, that same type of reaction, or have you been consistently putting in the work and putting up the different looks, and it's steadily grown? What's that been like, moving or showcasing?
Yeah, I'd say the same, to be honest. I'd say the growth on Instagram has been a lot more harder than Snapchat. But in terms of success, God's blessed me enough to see some sort of return. It's not on the millions or even the hundreds of thousands yet, but the little post that I put through does bring about something in return, which kind of like gives me a bit of motivation
to keep going.
Yeah, to keep going. I'm not the greatest at social media yet, even in terms of hosting. I could definitely be more. I hold myself accountable of that definitely every day, but for the little I do, it does pay back,
Yeah, because it is, because obviously if you can't video every single person that comes in. It takes too much time, and obviously you could what's it called, hire someone to do those bits, but obviously that eats into your profit, and everyone needs to eat, so you have to, like you said, you have to do it as and when, or whoever the clientele is today, if you get their consent, they're like, yeah, sure, you can put it up on their social media platforms. And if they're a recognizable face, that's definitely going to do a lot better than, some regular, 9-to-5er who works in accounting,
I kind of agree and disagree at the same time, because I've actually found that I have more success posting people that are not necessarily high profile on social media, but they're actually high profile in real life.
Okay. What? So wait, so you're saying,
let's say posting you, for example, obviously you're high profile on the internet and in real life, in comparison to, let's say, the best basketballer in year 11 in St. Peter's, it's gonna give a similar effect, because then the school kids at the school, even if they might not see on the internet, but because of the real life interaction, they're more likely to come as well. So
yeah,
I've always seen that play a counterbalance effect, because barbering is also word to mouth. It works big.
Yeah, and it's different demographics you'd be trying to hit as well. Because I saw one of your latest cuts and it was of a young boy, and I was like, yeah, that looks good, but like it didn't hit me like that. Like I've seen some of the other ones, but for a person who's like, 17, 16, 18 or whatever, they might see that as like, oh, yo, that's a fresh trim. So seeing someone who's of my age getting a trim, like, yo, that's nice. It's different from seeing someone of a different age be like, oh yeah, that's cute. That's cute. But for someone else that's younger to be like, yo, that's hard. I need to go to wherever that is and, get my trim there.
Precisely, bro.
But, I'd like to thank you for coming on and giving us, your time, because I know you're a busy man. Like you say, open up the shop for like 7 and finishing around 9. It's crazy. It's busy. You're a busy man. But before we go, let us know where we can find you. Where's the barbershop at?
The barbershop is located in Ancoats, Manchester, literally on the outskirts of the city centre. It's in Pollard Street East, inside the Wellington House building. Mike 407 Foxtrot Sierra.
Hey, man going out with the call signs and that.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you having us as well. And the Pree Da Podcast, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, bro.
No problem.
For sure, my bro.
Have you got any other messages you want to give to the people? Any shout outs you want to give?
Big shout out to my parents, for sure. My family, my missus, my team, every single barbers in my shop, Steve Walker, Jan, absolute Morel, the scene, Tyler, Lamin, all the guys every day, they're making this dream possible, and they're putting in the heavy work, and and it's beautiful to have such a great team to motivate and keep the dream pushing every day and growing. I thank God, of course, most importantly. Yeah, man. Thank you to you too, my bro. And thank you to all the clientele and all the people always supporting and showing love. It wouldn't be possible without you guys.
And if they want to find out, what your, barber style is and your trims and the looks you've done, what's the Instagram real quick?
The Instagram real quick, the business, we're at Barber Therapy 1-to-1. You can find us on Instagram and all over social platforms. And the personal is Chaddy Dixson Masangi. Find me on Instagram or even Snapchat. Check it out. We're there. Look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Hey, well, thank you for coming on, and thank you everyone for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed our first episode back from our little break. We're going to be trying to doing this as and when, as and when we get a special guest, as and when we get something interesting to talk about. That's when we're going to be doing a Pree Da Podcast episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Thank you, Chaddy Dixson, for coming through and sharing the love and sharing your stories that we've had together. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Said I wake up every morning, pray to God that I'm fixing up. Hope I'm never slipping up. Hear the money calling, need my peace to start getting up. Feeling like I'm blessed, but it came with a bit of luck. Feeling like you stressed, then the tension starts to fill you up. Need an intermission, yeah, they ain't the same lane as us. Come from different sticks, yeah, they're not the same range as us. They cop the pleas and top of teas, they're not hitting range with us. Keep